Good afternoon, my buddy. We are here with the legendary Annapolitan, Mr. Bill Pettaway. Bill is in town because he was to be honored, recognized this weekend at the Kunta Kinte Festival in downtown Annapolis, but unfortunately the weather didn't allow that to happen. So we weren't going to let you go home without talking to you and spend a little time with you. How have you been, my man?
I've been doing well, and I'm happy to be here, and thanks be to God that I woke up this morning, and I'm glad to be home and see faces and smiles that I grew up with and reminisce about things, including yourself, about the old guitar case you said I conned you out of.
You got it from me, man.
I did. I said, man, you don't need that. I got tape on it. It was an old Gibson Lipton case.
Yes, it was.
And I had that. I don't know what it was. I just had a strong desire. Jeff, I need to have that case. Didn't even have a guitar to put, but I want that case.
Mr. Jones guitar class at Annapolis Senior High. I was in class with a legend. You're a legend today, man.
I'm not a legend.
You're
I'm
a
just
legend.
Bill.
But check it. I saw it, Bill the legend. You know, and the beautiful thing about it is, you know, I spent a little time in the radio business, and so growing up and being able to make that connection whenever you were doing something or involved in something, and I could say, I know that guy. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take you back. I'm gonna take you back to your nursery school, my nursery school day, but I'm a year after you. I guess it was always in you that you were gonna be in the music world. Not the music business, the music world.
That is
because
correct.
Today it's global. So what you do is worldly. Yeah. But I'm gonna take you back to 1966. 1966. Man, we at Jack and Jill Nursery School celebration at Adams Park Elementary School Auditorium. Miss Mildred G. Noel is the director. You are what in that program?
I think, if I read it correctly, well, let me read that. Musical director?
That's what it is.
Yes.
At what, 5?
Yes.
You 5 years old,
yeah.
And you already got your toe in the music game.
Yeah.
On a small scale, but a very important scale, because you would stay with it your entire life, man. What was your childhood like here in Annapolis, man?
Amazing. And Jack and Jill started, I discovered something called rubber bands. And I discovered rubber bands made a plunky sound. And I was fascinated by taking one rubber band on the drawer knobs and stretching it further to produce different sound. And I go, people make music, and I'm making music out of boom, boom, boom. Put 2 rubber band, boom, boom. And that started me to understand just sound, not music, but sound within itself, Elvis Pierce. And then I go, that is a string instrument sound. And every time I heard my mom and dad, they had these pots, and I would bang them with spoons. I like sound. So that started me. It started off with sound. Just sound. And I was attracted to sound. And as I got older, coming up in Annapolis, there was always musicians everywhere. Clement Parker, Leon Washington, Terry Holland, Mike McHenry. It goes on and on. Keith Rao, Marvin Ennis, Kaya Damo, Ernesto Phillips, Gloria, Dwayne Herndon, Jerry Mickle, Perry Hudson. It just goes. I can just keep going. And Terry, rest his soul, he passed away. Yeah. Terry was a guitar player. He sang and played a white Telecaster.
Yes, sir.
Music inspired me because that sound I heard, Clement Parker, you played the guitar on the porch through a white custom amp, and I'll go, that sound would just come to my window, and I would find that sound. And then when I saw him play, I said he was a rock star to me. And he would show the blues and sing and everything. And every time I heard an instrument, it's like, that's what I'm going to do. Not to say that I was trying to be a star. That absolutely wasn't my goal. My goal was just to do something I loved, and I pursued it. My childhood was always supported. The thing that I will say about Annapolis honestly is the community and family that shaped me to be who I am, because nobody was hating, everybody was supporting. You did this, they like, come on, you can try it, we'll learn this. It was, everybody was a teacher in my life.
I'm sitting and I'm listening to you talk. When we were growing up, I remember all the bands that were here in Annapolis. And I even talked to Keith when Keith and we were at cousin's birthday outing, right? And I go back, you already mentioned him, Leon Washington with Natural Transition. You had Bad Weather. You had, oh my goodness, Grand Theft. Cosmic Creations. But you were in a group as well. You were in the band Mars. Was that your first group or?
No, that was with the transition. I was in some little band called Cool Cats with a guy named Eric Thomas, Tommy Thompson. It was his brother. It was our manager, and that's the first band we played at a school. And Eric passed away a year ago.
Yes, he did.
He played the drums, and we were all in the band together. Right. And those times were like, he encouraged us like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And we played at a little school. And that was my first experience. Then after that, I hooked up with, it wasn't Grand Theft, it was Cosmic Creation. I met Junior Johnson, and Dean Adams, and Jerry Macklin.
Was Derek on the drums?
Derek wasn't at the time. It was, oh man, I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
But he was the drummer.
Right.
But later it transitioned to Derek.
Right.
And it was just everybody. We got together and they decided to be a band. And from that, I just liked playing and doing music. Didn't think about any business. It was about getting together.
How did you meet Toni Braxton?
I heard about Toni Braxton. She went to the church that Cecil Memorial, Keith was involved in. And everybody talked about her. And everybody told me.
And this is when she's up and coming. She's singing in her dad's church.
Yes.
You met her in the beginning.
Yes.
Okay.
But they wanted me to go to church to hear her sing. I didn't believe in going to church to look for something. I didn't think that was right. You know, the church to me was a sacred place. It was a time of worship for God. Mm-hmm. So I felt like that's not my personality, going to church just to hear somebody sing.
Okay.
I knew Toni through people. She had this little Honda Civic, and I'll never forget the tag. It said, "Too cute." She'd ride by. I said, that's that girl they say sing. One day she stopped and got gas. And I just started talking to her. I said, you sing? She said, yes, sing me something. She started singing. She said they're going to rehearsal something. But she was working, I believe, with Marvin. She said, I work with this guy, Marvin. He got a band. I said, that's my band. She said, really? And I said, yeah. And she just looked at me, and I told her, I said, I want you to come to my studio. I have a small studio, but don't come alone. Come with somebody else. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna let you in. Mm-hmm. You can sing, but I want to hear what you do.
Right.
She came to my house. She sang, and I was like, "This girl can sing."
Toni Braxton.
And I go, I liked her demeanor. Mm-hmm. She believed in herself.
Okay.
And I had no clue. I didn't get with her to say, oh, I'm gonna do this. It wasn't that. It was just the music.
The music, right.
And she would come to my house. She brought somebody with her, like I requested, because I didn't want anybody to think it was a game. The music was very serious.
Because you were young too. You know, you coming up at this stage, but you've made some inroads. People know you for being a great guitar player. Mm-hmm. So, right, you building on your reputation at this point, right?
So when I met her, she was excellent, and I believed in her. I believed in how she carried herself. So her mother was kind of funny about her, like, who's this joker? Then I met her parents. She met me. Then she started coming more often, and coming to the house. And I remember her going to the Best Fest, and she was in a contest, and it was Kevin Lyles, myself, and some other judges. She told me about it, but I didn't want her to do it. But in that evening, they asked me to be a judge.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just show up and be a judge. So she saw I was a judge, and everything was like good. Everybody sung, and I gave my judgment. And then when they asked me what I think, I said, I give her a 6. Everybody was pissed off at me.
You gave her a 6?
Mm-hmm. And then after that, everybody was like, why you do that to your homegirl? I said, that's what it is. So everybody, and somebody approached me, I forget who it was, and said, why didn't you let her win? I said, because I'm not into, her potential is bigger than winning a contest and going on a trip. She's a superstar. I'm not into the talent thing. I'm into building the talent to make it go where it needs.
My next question to you, what role did you play, or if any role did you play, in getting her from Annapolis to L.A. Reid and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds with LaFace Records?
Through Ernesto Phillips.
Okay, tell, yeah, because, you know, me working in radio in Washington for 28 years, 1991 to 2019, I heard the story that Kenny Allen, spur of the moment, keyboard player.
He worked with her.
Yeah. Right, so the way it was broken down to me was she went from Annapolis, DC, then she got to L.A. Reid and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. She started with you here in Annapolis first, in connection with her doing her gospel with her dad's church.
She started with Keith Rao at the church.
Keith Rao, okay.
Keith knew her before me.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when my role was, she was in the basement. Something happened one day. I was being mean to her. She liked somebody and she's like, oh yeah, I gotta see you, man. And I was just pissed. Like, you're not here for worrying about what somebody, you know. And I think I told her, like, I just ignored her for like a year. I didn't want to talk to her because it was about, I saw what she had. And I was like, I want to help you.
So you saw the potential.
Oh, I knew it.
You knew it.
And from that, she came back and she says, I'ma make it. And the way she said that, she believed in herself, and I saw that. So during the time, we were just doing dilly songs, you know. And I said, my music don't work for her. I'm not good enough for her. She's better. And her first demo, I believe, the real demo was done by Kaya Damo, put together a song.
Yeah.
But the music was upbeat, whatever. But I knew that I couldn't deliver what she really needed. And out of nowhere, Ernesto calls me and he says, do you know anybody that can sing? And I say, yes. He says, is it worth me to get on a plane and fly from LA? Is the ticket worth it to come see who you got? And I say, absolutely.
Wow.
And he said, well, I'm going to fly. And I told her, you're going to meet somebody. And she said, okay. I said, be here this time. She came. And at that time, I didn't even know she really played the piano. I said, oh, I didn't know she played. And she's playing. Ernesto walks down and meets her. And he says, you sing something for me? And she didn't say what. She didn't ask any questions. She sang. She's like, this is me. She was confident and very sure of herself. And she said, no, so I got it. And then he let her keep singing. He said, come, let's talk. What are we going to do? I said, nothing. You can do whatever. I have a situation. I said, let it go. Do it. I want to help her. I'm here to help her. Well, you're going to come here and you're going to do this with me. And I go, no, this is your time. I'm going to stay here at the gas station. You know, you're going to be fine. You know, because my job was done.
Right.
It wasn't no business. It wasn't like, I'm doing this. Where's my money?
Right.
We never had that.
Right.
That was and still to this day, she owes me nothing.
Right.
Not a dime.
Right.
She already paid me back by being successful because that's what I wanted to support. I wanted to support somebody from where I come from and show this person can make it. And it's not about money and all the business.
Right.
To most people, they do that. But it's like, this is a home person. They deserve it. And if they get there, I want them to be as big as they can be. And she did. And that made me feel proud and good of her. And it showed me how God works. He uses you as a vessel to help others.
It's a Kunta Kinte festival weekend here in Annapolis. Normally we would be downtown at the city dock, but unfortunately the weather is not allowing us to do that this weekend. But we have a person here that was to be honored this weekend, to be recognized for his very important roles in the music industry. And his name is Bill Pettaway. Bill, you were a part of one of the biggest songs and unfortunately one of the biggest controversies in the music industry, some time ago. The group was called
Milli Vanilli.
What role did you play in the creation of the song Girl You Know It's True?
Music. My role was music. It was just, I created this music that I worked on for like maybe 5 or 6 years. I just had energy from the music. So I was working at the gas station. And then working at the gas station, I went home as soon as I got off and did music every day. So as I'm doing music, I get a call from a telemarketer, which I don't know till this day, to get me to come to a timeshare. But I was very patient with her and I listened. You know, she was very nice. And she asked me, was she disturbing me? And I go, no. And she asked me, what was that in the background? I said, music. And she said, what songs? I said, that's music I make. And she said, that's pretty cool. I have somebody here that make music. You should talk to them. And I said, sure, I'd be glad. And I wasn't that excited. And she says, well, a guy named Kevin, he's going to call you. They have a group called the New Marks. And I went, I've been trying to meet them
the New Marks, right,
for 4 to 5 years because they had a mix show. And I wanted to do something with my music with something urban, different area I didn't know. And I said, if I put something, a beat to the rap and all of that stuff, that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So she said, can Kevin call me? I said, yes. He called me. He go, what do you do? I said, music. Let me hear something. I was playing just stuff on the phone. He said, I'm coming down. Bring the group. You know, he was a leader back then, a fierce leader. Like he was about business then. He guided everybody, including myself. So we get there, we do music, and he say, you're the producer. Okay, if you say so. I just make music. No, we need a producer, and you are our producer. He picked me. So I did a song called Rhyme So Deaf. That was the first single, and it did well in both. So he came to my house again. They had this song called ABC or something. I really wanted to record that song. So in wanting to record the song, I said, I need to make a copy of it. So I dig in this bag with blank tapes. But I put the tape in, and the tab was broken, which you all may not know about.
Can't record.
You can't record. That was old school.
Right.
Cassette tape.
So you had to put a piece of tape on top of it.
Right. But I forgot to put tape. Well, I didn't break it anyway. It was just broken. That very tape I put in, he said, let me hear that. What is that? I go, it's nothing. I'm going to erase it. I hate it. We got to record that. He insisted. And I said, I don't think this is it. And then I humbled myself and say, why did you want to work with them? They have expertise. They on the radio. You not. You better listen to him. You better learn to listen. It's not about you. They're here. You're working as a group. You got to work as a team. It's like a band. They're rappers, but you got to think like a band. Everybody has their role. So I listened to Kevin. We recorded that song. And we were all excited about it. All of the parts were done just very special the way it was done. It was called I'm in Love Girl. And that was it. So I asked Kai Dingo to help me. And he said, all right, I'll help you. And then, you know, he's like, yeah, I'll come. So he showed up at the studio. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. So the New Marks were working with some vocal people. And these vocal people, they was just trying to get them to sing. And Kevin like, we're not singers, we're rappers. So we're laying on the floor. It's 3 a.m. And Kai, the other people left. And Kai gets up and stands up, Kai of Star Point, and goes, let's get to work now. Let me hear that. He plays I'm in Love Girl, So in Love Girl. This is true. That was it. Kai said, no, it can't be that. It doesn't take you anywhere. It's got to be more like I'm in Love Girl. This is true. Girl, you know it's true. And then Kevin and everybody say, girl, you know, then what? I don't know. Just ooh, whatever. It was a joke. Mm-hmm. And they recorded that. And Kai said, we need this guy to sing this, named Charlie Hindenburg. He passed away.
Right.
He lived in Eastport. He came in.
I remember Charlie.
Yep.
Charlie sang with Grand Theft.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Charlie walks in and he says, okay, what do you want to sing? So Kai's telling him, he says, how you going to tell a singer how to sing? Just let me get on the mic. He had an idea. He got on the mic. You know, the guy gave him the feel, and he just says, "Girl, you know it. Yes, you know it. Ooh," and he sang it in one take.
So when the story came out, and they say that they were lip syncing to the song, who were the artists that were actually singing it? Was it Charlie and Shonda?
No,
so
it was the original version.
Gotcha.
Newmarks were the first to do it. There was the song as the Newmarks. That song was their song.
Okay.
And I was the producer. And in doing that, it got out, and somehow, without us knowing, they released it over in Germany.
Right.
And everybody heard it in a club, and they loved it.
Yes, sir.
Of the Newmark. I never thought anything. So a guy from Germany called me. His name is Dominic. And he kept saying, "You got the biggest records overseas." And I'm like, whatever. I don't believe that. I don't have a record. And I just thought it was talk. And I kept working at the station. And I bought this little pet ferret named Pee-wee. Well, it was given to me in the gas station. My parents didn't want me to have it. But they ended up falling in love, and I had this little ferret. I was taking it to the vet on by the mall. What's that road? Rolling Hills. The vet was down there in Epping Forest.
Okay. Right.
Anyway, I'm going there taking my ferret. And as I'm taking the ferret, the song plays. And I'm driving, I'm in shock. And my ferret, I didn't have many cages on the seat. And I heard, "I'm in love with you, girl, da 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 da." And I go, "That's my song!" And I'm talking to the ferret. And the ferret freezes. And I go, "That's my record!" And the ferret bounce up and down. And I'm looking at the ferret like, "You know, that's the music!" Because I always kept him in the cage with me doing music. And he looked at me like, "I know that. Where are we going?" And I get to the vet, and I tell the vet, he's taking care of. I said, "My song was on the radio." He said, "Oh yeah," and he's just smiling. I said, "No, it really was." So I went home to my mom and said, "Mom, my record is on the radio, and it's a big hit." And I said, "Mom, this is real." And she knew I was serious. And then she said, "Okay." And then later, during the process, as it was a hit, I think the company offered me $500. And I went home and said, "They gonna give me $500
for the whole song, for the music and the vocals."
They were gonna pay me for the to buy the rights to it.
Right.
And I said to myself, "Okay," but I had to consult with my parents. And my dad and mom said, "You're not selling anything." So I went back and I told the company, no. And they said, "Okay." And a week later, they said, "I got a good situation. We're going to give you $5,000. You can give your mom and dad some, and y'all will be good. Just tell them they giving you extra so they can have some." So I went to sit at the table at dinner. My mom sat right across. My dad always sat at the head of the table. And there's iced tea with the lemon. He squeezed it. And he said, "What have you been up?" I said, "I got news for y'all." He says, "Okay. Eat your food first and stop drinking your drink. You eat first and wash your food down." I said, "Okay." "Okay. What do you want to tell us?" "Well, the song, you were right about $500. They gonna give me $5,000, and I'm gonna give you and mom, dad, whatever you want. You get a car, blah, blah, blah." And my dad started laughing, and my mom did. And I said, "What's funny?" And they said, "You better wake up. Last week it was $500.
Exactly.
Now it's $5. So what do you think? If you sell it, you can't live here because we are advising you not to sell it." I said, "Okay." So I went back and said no. A couple months later, got an offer, 50, 75, and I said no to all of them. Just no, and then my mother said, "What are you going to do with this hit song, having this? Are you famous?" I'm like, "Yeah. Well, in my house, you ain't famous. You going to work. You're going to pump gas and do what you do. Don't let that get in your head." And I pumped gas for years after that. And I stayed there. And every time I came home, I was getting these huge amounts of checks in, and when I was getting it in, I couldn't count it because it didn't matter. And
those were your royalty checks. So even though you never signed a release for them to go and produce the song, they still paid you for it as the song started to build.
They had to, because I did copy.
Because you copied.
And I signed with BMI, did all the legal stuff with it. But what I did is, the song was 100% mine, but what I did as a song, as a producer, but I said, you know what, I'm going to split the song down the middle. Because that's the Kai and I decided, give everybody, because we working together. And it was a good experience to work with the guys. It's like, everybody should benefit. So we benefited with the song. We just split it, because I have the original contract where it says 50-50, but we changed that because we said we did it, and we stuck together on it.
Go ahead. Talk to us about the movie. There's a movie coming out.
There we go.
Yeah, talk to us about the movie.
The movie is
Did they consult you?
I was a consultant, and Kevin and all of the guys, we were consultants.
Cool.
We're going to get to the first thing when we say movie, just to be clear. There's a movie and there's a documentary.
Okay, all
right. The documentary is on Paramount, if I said that correctly.
Yeah, that's it.
The Paramount is responsible for putting the content to the world. The documentary, I met a young producer, writer, director named Luke Corum. I was introduced on the phone. We were just shooting the breeze. This lady that managed one of Milli Vanilli said, you guys should talk. And I'm like, I'm open. Same thing with How Girl You Know It's True got placed with the telemark. I talked to this guy, Luke Corum, and he tells me about this thing he did. He sent me a link called Dealt. I saw Dealt and I was impressed. This guy was doing kung fu and he was playing cards and he was winning. And he wouldn't tell me anything. So I watched how he played the card games and he was good. And then he said, you like it? I said, yeah, he's really good. And he said, did you watch the whole thing? I said, yeah. He said, you didn't. So I went back and watched it. And then he said, did you watch? I said, yes. I love your work. He says, what did you get? I said, I didn't know he was blind. And he was good. He presented it where you didn't know, but that was the story. So I like his storytelling. So we get to talk, and he was really passionate about, I want to do this. So we talk, and I said, yeah, but I want it, you're the producer, but I don't know. Then when it came down to the dealings, I was like, no, we got to do the business with the attorneys. And he said, sure. So we did everything. He was fair. He was transparent, as he still is today. He keeps me updated. He lets me know what's going on and what it's going to do. So he showed me the shots he was doing. He came to Miami with the camera crew and shot my part, which I'm not in the first part, but there's something interesting coming that everybody's going to want to know about. It's a deeper side to the Milli Vanilli story that you're going to see on whoever picks it up, if it's Paramount or not, it doesn't matter. But this story has to be told, and it's going to be deeper than anybody ever imagined. Anyway, I saw his work. He sent me a run of it, and I watched it, and I was blown away. I'm like, wow, he took it to another level. So October 23rd, 2023, you have to watch on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
The Milli Vanilli story. Now, the Milli Vanilli story is Milli Vanilli. I'm not Milli Vanilli. I don't have anything to do with Milli Vanilli. I just do the music. I just did the song. Girl You Know It's True is my first child with all of the new Marks and Kai and everybody. That's my involvement in my intellectual property in the documentary.
It's a Kunta Kinte festival weekend here in Annapolis, and as I mentioned before, we're supposed to be downtown at the city dock where it's carried out, but due to the inclement weather, we couldn't do that this weekend. But we definitely wanted to talk with you because you're an Annapolitan, you're a great Annapolitan. Your contribution to music speaks for itself. But I want to ask you, what are some of the other artists? Because now you're educating me. What are some of the other artists you worked with throughout your career?
Justin Timberlake, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, Jay-Z, Jamie Foxx, There's so many.
So you didn't say Timberland.
Well, he's the boss.
Right.
Through him, that's why I work with those.
Okay.
He's the genius. He's
Okay.
the real genius. I met Timberland actually here in Maryland.
Okay.
He used to come to Annapolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hung out with me at the gas station.
Get out of here.
Yep. Because that before, and I told Tony that reason why I was going, and I met this guy Timberland, and that was my connection. I knew the musical energy, synergy was there. He loved music, and I was like, I need to hang with him because he loved music. He wasn't.
So Timberland, like you said, was before Manili Vanilli.
No, after.
After, okay.
But I knew that was the next phase. But he was just a kid that had a dream, who believed in himself. And I wanted to ride with this kid. I wasn't a producer, I wasn't a leader, I wasn't anything. I trusted his judgment musically. He had a genius in his head, and I watched his career, and I believed in him, and I knew he was going to be something from the beginning, and I just stuck with him. And the funny story about people and music and connect. God leads you on a path. When I met Timberland, a guy rolled in, saw me playing the guitar. He asked me to go to a studio, but my friend Paul Walker owned the studio. He said, well, you'll guess. Going there, I met Tim. Well, I met Magoo. He passed away a few weeks ago. Sad to hear. But Magoo introduced me to Tim, and we started talking. They were doing an album, and they didn't know I played guitar, and they heard it, and I was kind of shy about it. And Tim wanted me to play guitar. And I started playing guitar with him, just kind of dabbling around. We hung all over Maryland together. And then finally, he went to Rochester, work on Aaliyah, had a big song, Genuine. And then one day, I was going through some troubling times at home. My mother came in the room and said, there's not a sparrow that falls from the sky that God doesn't notice. And I have done these little Fruit of the Loom underwear, crying in my room, just upset about my life, like what happened and why this. Out of nowhere, from an airplane, he calls me, and I start to cry, and he goes, I don't want to hear this, and he hung up the phone. And I go, wow, he's mad at me. And I sat there, but he calls me back. He said, no, I wasn't hanging up on the phone. I'm trying to talk to my friend. I want to see what's going on in his life. My friend is telling the stories. He said, yeah, I wasn't hanging. I said, okay. He said, yeah, I'm doing bad. He said, I'm your family. Come home. Come to New York. Live with me in New York. And the guys got on the train, went to New York. That was 26 years ago.
Wow.
And we still live I ended up moving to Florida because of him. I lived in California, went to London, Paris, all over the world with him, Canada, Australia with Timberland. He took me as a brother. Our relationship was a brother. But making those records like Sexy Back and Jay-Z with Tim was an experience. It wasn't because I was good. It has nothing to do with being good or being able to play. It was I was in the right place, the right time, the right thing. 3 R's. That's called success. Right time, right thing, and right place. If you remove one, you don't have success because they all need to go together.
There's another little Bill Pettaway somewhere here in Annapolis. And what encouraging words would you have for a little guy somewhere here in Annapolis? And I'm only using Annapolis because that's our community, where we come from. What encouraging words would you have for that little guy in one of the communities we just talked about who aspires to be in the music industry as a musician such as yourself?
Be a camera, be a lens, and focus on working on getting to a destination in your life, an attainable goal, meaning nothing is impossible. You believe in yourself and something, stick with it. Don't let anybody sway you. Don't let the moment. Don't do anything for money. Do it because you love it. And you can do it. I did it. And everybody says I'm a great musician. I'm not great. I'm just determined. I just believe in. I'm going to do the extra. A friend of mine, my friend David, I'm always forced by, he said, they won't do that. I go, no, they're going to do it. I know how to approach it. And I take that approach and I don't take no. Success is 20 no's. If you can get through those 20 no's, you have what it takes to be successful. You got to just keep going. You fail to win. Every team don't win the game, but they play another game. That's life.
It's the 33rd annual Kunta Kinte Festival here in Annapolis, and we just want to thank the young man who we paid homage to and who we pretty much dedicated this weekend to, our very own Mr. Bill Pettaway. It's always good to see you, man. Much continued success to you, and we want to thank you so much for coming home and letting us honor you, bro.
And thank you all for having me here. I'm filled with gratitude and joy, and I thank everybody. I thank everybody for making this happen. I thank Keith Rowell and all the staff and everybody for bringing me home. And I feel like I'm home. When I came here and got off that plane and touched the ground, I knew I was in Annapolis, Maryland, and I came to Annapolis through 97, and here I am. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bill.